interesting part is a lot of the state police are very busy as it is.
Hi, my name is Belinda Arroyo. I'm a board certified immigration attorney, and I just wanted to respond to some of the comments about SB4 and just kind of react to that. In terms of one of the points that was made about the state police having a lot to do already, that's true. With the state, by deciding to do this, implementing this law is taking a lot of resources away from actual crime fighting, things that city police, county police already have to do, will now encompass them stopping people, asking them different questions, trying to see if this law applies to them. We've already heard, at least through news resources in places like East Texas, certain sheriffs stating that they would, full to the extent full to the full extent of the law apply this. And the way that the law is written, the way that I've read it, is definitely going to put a heavy burden on state police because they don't know immigration law. So for them to attempt to question people, arrest people, detain people, with their belief that somebody is not in the country legally or did not enter the country legally is going to pose huge problems for the state. The state could be looking at being sued if they detain people who are rightfully here, being placed in just a really bad position with, especially with minority communities, because I look brown, because my hair is black. Does that mean that the police are going to ask me where I came in through, where I was born? All of those types of things that just put the state police in actually against minority communities instead of working with them. And so, one of the big issues with this law is that the federal government is in the best position to make these decisions. That is why recently a federal judge listened to arguments on this state law this past week in Austin. My belief still is that this state law is not going to go into effect next week. My belief is that because of how far it goes into requiring state police to recognize and actually interpret immigration law, which is federal in nature, that it's very unlikely that this state law will ever be implemented. And I sense that. Governor Abbott and the people who wrote this law must know that. They must know that it was highly unlikely for this state law to actually be implemented. So that leaves me with the only belief that the only reason they've ever even done this is to create a fear, knowing that they had gone too far, that it probably would never be implemented. So there's a lot of powers that be and at work that I think the average Texan is not aware of. There's politics involved. There's the way this looks like we're going to do something, creating fear so people will quit crossing over from Texas. So I think there's a lot more at play here than this actual law ever going into effect. And so I think that's something to consider, that the average Texan should consider is, do we really want our tax dollars and resources for state police to be implementing this kind of this kind of law, or should we be leaving this to the federal government? And I know that the argument by many people is, well, the federal government's not doing what they're supposed to, but the federal government is in the best position to do it. And so, as taxpayers and voters, that's something that obviously we can address at the federal level and should be addressed at the federal level, not at the state level, because you are creating a lot of issues at the state level that they just don't make sense. So as a board certified immigration attorney, I'm going to keep saying this, and obviously by next week we'll know, but I really don't think that this law is ever going to be fully implemented in Texas. I think that this will likely go up all the way to the Supreme Court, and that what we will find is that Texas wrote this law in a way that is contrary to federal law, and the Supreme Court is going to tell them you can't do it. And I have a feeling that this will not be a surprise to Governor Abbott and the people who made this law and voted for this law, in my opinion. So thank you. Have a good day.